Hi guys. So, the person that stole my house off of me said to me when I was speaking to them, I can't even mention it, they said that they knew somebody very, very well and they knew what to say. I've been going back in my memory with this person, like how much of my life have they actually messed up? And also how far this person would go for money. I think that's the sickest part, when you actually look at yourself and you think, well, actually, I think I'm worth over £1 billion. But for you to really like, £1 million cheap, really, isn't it? It's kind of cheap with 1 million. But it's the fact that you stole it from me when I was 18. It's the fact that I met somebody when I was just under 18. But it was funny how I went back into my memory and I remember this blue Lexus following my car from I can't say, but it was following me and then it stopped outside of a shop. Now, for my whole life, I've like said this romantic story of how I met somebody outside this shop, and I found out that this person, I really worked it out now. It hurts even just to come out and say it. Before I left to go to that shop, I said to my older sister, I'm gonna go down Dad's. My dad used to hit me when I was younger, so I don't really feel safe with him, but I understand that some people make mistakes, you know? But it has caused me a whole lifetime of like not feeling safe around certain people because of what he did to me. And then also like when I was hit when I was younger, when I was in a relationship, I found like it's okay to hit me because I had my dad hit me and I saw my dad hit my mum, so I felt like that was normal, and it really isn't normal. And that person who hit me wouldn't ever hit a man. You'd never see him fight with a man, but you would see him bully women. So this person chooses certain people. But when I met this person, I was like a care assistant for elderly people. I worked 50 hours a week. I paid for my own car insurance, my own car. I had everything. I had £15,000 saved in the bank. When I met this person, all my savings he took. And I should have realised this from when I was younger, like 18, 17. I should have realised, no, this has been happening for years. This isn't just like the other 10 years. This started from the start of the 10 years. But that feeling of someone saying, I'll always be there. If you help me out now, when I have something, I'll help you. I was thinking in those 10 years that because I had more than that man, that I could, if I was ever in a really bad state, that this person would help me. And I'd invested over 10 years of money. Can you imagine how much money that is? And I mean, like, just paying for his child support, paying for his food, paying for his mum's food, like, paying for his cigarettes, paying for his clothes. His mum paid for his car insurance. Someone was paying everything for that person, but I genuinely thought this person had nothing, but they did have something. They were in a secret relationship the whole time, not only with my sibling, but with my work friend, with the homeless lady I let in my house, with my old school friend. So many people I could say, I'm not allowed to say that. So many people. And I didn't know that that person had met my sister and they'd planned to pretend they were in a relationship with me. And then the whole plot was to try to get me onto drugs, me off, like not working as a care assistant for elderly people with disability, learning difficulties, end of life, every single part of care. They wanted to switch my careers to dancing. I've always looked at like, why would you go from a care assistant to a strip dancer? That is absolutely insane. I don't know how you would just change from that job to that job. But it was the person I was with. It was the sexual behaviors in the relationship. It was the way I felt. I had no pride when I was with him, which is really silly because I have so much pride now. But when this person, I told my older sister I was going to see my dad, and this Lexus, who's parking opposite the shop, I now believe that this person actually was meant to meet me and like just trap me and the person who stole my house, they wanted me to look like I was ill, like I was mentally disabled, that I couldn't look after my own things. So they had to make my life so hell, so I become in that situation. The same with them smashing up my cars. They had to do that so I wouldn't work, so they could tell people she doesn't work, she's lazy. Truth is, every time they smashed up a car, I went and bought another car until it got to the end of the finance car, and I couldn't have any more money because I owe for the finance car that's been smashed up. It was just constant over and over and over again start. And I was just wondering, like, how do these people know where I'm going? How do they know my plans? How do they know everything? But they were sending people towards me to pretend they were my friends and finding out all this information. And it's the same, it was weird how they were all connected to my ex, my sister. I never gone out on my 18th, my 21st, my 25th. I've never actually experienced like a young life. I've always been a stepmom to my partner's son, and then I've been a mum to my own child, and then I've also just, yeah, that's all I wanted to be. So that's all I kind of concentrated on. So I missed all of that young like partying stages. I'd never gone to pubs and things like that. I think I only went once in a pub for my best friend Danielle, who killed herself. I went into the pub for her wedding, and I think I left at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I said, it's getting a bit busy now, I'm gonna leave. And she was like, that's fine, thank you for coming for the start of the day and like the wedding and everything. And then the second time I went in was when I went to go give Sam my number. So I don't go in pubs, I just never been like that kind of person. But they had to make out like my life was very chaotic like that. I know that now that my sister told my ex that where I was going, like the whole plan, and even up to when we ended the relationship and my sister brought me to this party, and I can say names unless they're not last names because there's so many names with this last name, but she took me to this party, and I think she was going out with like Connor, and he was friends with Star, and they were like just all partying. Later on I found out that Connor was on crack cocaine, but then I also found out my daughter's dad was on crack cocaine. And now I see where this all began, because my sister would have been on it with him. I see now how they were all connected, but I wasn't taking drugs then. I was maybe smoking a bit of marijuana, Mary Jane. But like I said, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm not an addict, but they had to make it like I was an addict for this, what's happening right now in my life. Also, like, it's not just the house they stole. It was the time where I could have worked. It was the cars. And there's so many similarities, which I see now. Like my niece seeing my daughter's dad in a rave, and they were like chatting and they're friends. And then my mum saying to me that she got that same niece to look online at my ex-partner's profile. And I said, I haven't even looked on his profile. Why would you go on there, Mum? I haven't even gone on there. Someone showed me, which I'm not allowed to say who, but they showed me a picture on that website, which I said I didn't really want to see, but that person started really crying. And I was like, show me the picture, why are you crying? Like, this is really, what's happening? And then I just said, like, should have wore a shawl, like stankin', you know? And we had a little giggle because it was true. And I helped that person feel a little bit better. But I felt really bad because I felt like I would never go on my ex's sites because it hurt you. It hurt you, any ex-partner. You just don't go on ex-partner sites. My YouTube has been reported by my ex-partner, and the people who reported it to the other people who I can't say, they have left out who gave them the YouTube site, which proves the harassment in it. It proves you just follow me and stalk me, and it's weird. Like, if you're gonna go off and get married, like, leave your ex alone. Why are you so into getting your ex's life ruined? Like, you're in a new relationship, move on, go home. Sorry, I'm just off sister. But that's how I feel. Like, when I end something, I end it. There's no need, none of that. There's no need. But all of his friends were texting me, and like, when I look back now, I think it's so hurtful, because like, when you end relationships, can't you just like leave it? Why have you got to get all your friends involved? Why have you got to get all your new partner's friends involved? Why do that to someone you've been with, that's loved you, that's cared about you? Why would you do that to someone? Because they don't want to be with you? Because of your own behavior? Because of your theft? Because of your sexual abuse? That person doesn't want you. You have to leave. But it's like, people have been trapping me for the last 5 years, trying to get me to like think somebody who really hurt me, who stole so much money off of me, who turned so many people against me. They want to make it like I'm bad mouthing that person. It's hurtful. It's hurtful because I've never done anything to that person but give them everything I've had. And for them to just create a different personality, like to stand there and listen to someone talk such blasphemy on my name, knowing that's not who I am, that really hurt, because it was like, not only did you hurt me, but you just jabbed that dagger in me after, and another dagger, and another dagger, and another dagger, and then you let your friend dagger, and then you let your girlfriend dagger, and then you let my neighbor dagger. And you don't want to say the truth after all of those daggers. You want to make out like none of those daggers happened, and this person just turned out to be a bit mentally unstable. EUPD only gets set off and if you are being abused. It will only be set off by certain parts of, everyone has a different part of EUPD, but we all have a certain traits that actually you will see such a different side to us if you trigger these things off, and they did. But not only that, it's like, just I really loved these people. I think that's the main thing. Like, I really loved them, and I was there with them when they had no one. When they're at their worst times, when people were horrible to them and they had no money, I was always the one there. And it's really sick. Like, even the person who stole my house, like when their car broke down, I literally was the only person who sat there, and I had battered sausages, and we were there like till like really late at night, freezing cold, no heating in the car, and everyone left except for me. I said, I'll stay. I don't want you to be alone. Something might happen. And I've always been that person that wants to protect people, but then the same people I protect, they want to hurt me, they want to harm me, they want to lie on me. But to steal something, you've got to make out like someone's mental. Like you actually would put that on someone's record, that they are crazy, so you can steal money. You'll ruin someone's whole life. No one would ever believe anything they say, because mental health, they don't believe us. They think, do you know, I recently told someone, which was really hard, parts of my life. And that person wrote down and said, I'm very imaginative. My pain was imaginative. Do you think I'm going to express that pain again to anyone else? Never now. And there was so much more I wanted to tell this person, but because they were laughing at my pain and thinking it was a joke, I thought, I'm not even telling you further. This person has no life experience. They've never been in the real, like, they're not streetwise. They haven't even been in private schools and had the education, but they think they're better than me. Just because you have the grades, that doesn't mean you're more intelligent than me. I don't like tests. I will walk out of a test. I'm not being tested on the same thing with other individuals. I'm going to choose something that no one's doing. Why would I want to do the same thing you're all doing? It's just a conversation starters for when you're older. You use the same things that you all learned together. When you're older, you have something to talk about, but it's boring. It's really boring. If you work in anything like, I don't know, any industry, when you're talking and you're just having that first conversation with somebody, those conversations are boring. It's so repetitive. It's so repetitive. It's so annoying. So I don't like it. But this person really felt that they are manipulating the situation, and you're not. You're actually going to get yourself in a lot more trouble because you haven't done your investigation correctly. And that's okay. That's not my job. I'm not paid for it. But if somebody would have listened to me when I told them, it's like telling someone the most smallest thing you could tell them, and I could have given you the biggest thing that could have made you go so high up in your job. But because you've made fun of me, I ain't telling you shit now. And I'm sorry, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't have to say nothing. But I would have. Is the way you treated me, the way you made me feel unsafe, unheard, and uneducated. This person even said to me about what GCSEs do you have, and I said, oh, I had an A in dance. I had an A in dance. I had one of the highest grades in dance, but it was because it was the only test that I actually thought, I'll go for that one. I don't mind dancing, I'll do that test. But all the other ones, I was like, nope, nope, I'm not going in, I'm not going in. And because of my disabilities, I had like a timeout card, and they put me like in this small little, it was really good actually. It was like only like five, six of us. So I did have disabilities when I was younger, but it was more like I just can't sit still. I can't sit in this room. It's too much, you know, I'm going to go. And I would say to people, I'm going to go. I'm sorry, I'm going to go. This year has tested me so much because the behavior I'd had since from a child, from so young, I have to sit in the room and listen to lies, listen to people say things that aren't true. And it's been really hard because normally I would walk out because there's a test. I remember saying to the person, I always fail tests. And he laughed because he knew he was going to try to twist everything. And it's weird because the person that wrote down stuff, it was like everything that I could say about the person against me, they literally tried to twist everything like it was me. And that was really cruel, but I do know that Allah is going to punish you for that. I'm sorry, Mother Earth and Jesus Christ will punish you. It's not my fault, it's them. They don't like people who hurt people that are speaking the truth. They don't like people that are actually living in God's name. They don't like that. But it did say, Jesus said to us that if you admit to all your sins, we will be crucified. And it's true. I never thought you could be punished for telling the truth. And you know, like, I put that thing on my, if you look on my post, I put that thing from Matilda. It's really cute. I love that. And like, if you look on that film, it's really, really true. And it's like, punish for being smart. And he's like, yes, but why should you punish someone because they're smart and they figured you all out? Why? And it's so many people in the government that I'm not allowed to speak about, that I feel like I'm doing God, like, doing this channel, like, why should I have to take everyone at the bottom down? And then you all at the top are protected? That's not fair. On this channel, that's not fair. If we expose the bottom, we have to expose the top. And then we're going to meet in the middle. And that's where it's supposed to be. And every person that is chosen, or everyone who is speaking truly to Spirit, truly, you don't need no cards. Spirit's speaking to you when you're in the bath, especially when you actually have a cleanse and you wash all of the bad energy off you. Most of the chosen people, when you're like cleansing in the bath, you'll get so many messages. And when you hurt these people, spiritually, they're here to, like I said to you, the wake up, shake up. We're here to literally expose things so we can put this planet back into the right place. But the people I want to expose on the bottom, the people that are actually corrupting this whole country, England and Wales, they're protected by the people on the top. So how can I help this world? How can I help you all? Because you've just stopped me speaking. And I'm not going to let the people on the bottom go down and then you at the top be saved. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not. That's not fair. I'm an open book, I'm free-flowing spirit, and I also speak very free-flowing. I've literally done about 7 hours of videoing, and because I've accidentally mentioned a name, I've had to delete it, and it's so annoying because of one stupid, ugly woman. She couldn't even bloody iron her suit. Looked like he's all screwed up in a drawer or something. It's disgusting. She didn't even comb her hair. And you know, that day, that person was smiling and laughing at me, and they went in and something got taken off of me, and I know it was because of that one person lying. I know it was that one person that did that to me. But there was no one to protect me, so when this person was lying on my name, everyone who actually knew me just went quiet. And then the people who stole from me, so like I said to you, my house has been stolen. I've had like 4 of the cars smashed up by the other person. But it's not just that. The other person, they were taking money out of my house. They were taking everything. And then they were like leading me towards that energy of that job. They even dropped me there and said, go in. And now I realize why this person ruined my dancing job. I got kicked in the belly when I was like 5.5 months pregnant with my little boy, and then my ex-partner was sleeping with that person for like 2, 3, 4 years after, and that person attacked somebody that I was with, like that I had with me, pushed them across the sweet shop, and then my ex-partner slept with that person after they attacked that person's child, which is actually insane. It's insane. But when I worked in that place, when they were with that one person, they said, don't worry, we'll get you another job. Like, I'll take you somewhere else. Just go in this place. And now I know I was led into these places because of how they designed it to be at the end, when truly I'm a care assistant for elderly people. That is my true form of job. It's just caring about anybody. Old people, children, and animals. But none of you in between. I'm sorry. But it's scary that I loved somebody who would lead me that way to steal my money, my house, and yeah, like I really do believe. So I got this email from this lady and today, and I got this email when I was alone last time, like completely alone, and it's really strange how it came in today through a text message. And it was saying like, come to this surgery and you can have cheaper injections. It's £150. The doctor I see now, it's like over £1,000 for the same treatment. And this woman is with the human traffickers, and it's being created that I have everything taken off of me so they can take me. But the thing with human traffickers is they don't hurt old people, children, and animals. There is actually a rule to corruption. Like I know you all might think that people that do illegal things are really bad, but they're really not. There is a code, and it is we don't hurt animals, children, and old people, and that's what they say. I've heard that from so many people that you would think is like the most craziest, nuttiest, nastiest people, but they would never harm those three groups, and they had to get me alone. So they could do what they want to do. But it's just sick that that person who was supposed to protect us listened to those lies, and they didn't correct that person and say she's nothing like that. She's a really nice person. She's very giving. She's caring. She actually looked after me when I was on my deathbed. When no one wanted me and no one wanted to go like around me, all my friends thought I was a thief. That was the only woman that was there for me, and she helped me get back up, and I screwed her over. That's what I wanted to hear, the truth from that person. But it was like that person was enjoying someone speaking so much lies on my name. And the whole time I'm thinking, okay, and people think that I'm stupid just because I'm not speaking. I'm aware and I'm just watching. So you're with that group's with that group, that one's in, oh my God, that one's in the higher ups. Gee whiz. You can go low down and you can get someone far higher up like that. And you can lie and you can put different stuff on there so the person that's higher up from you would think I am less than. The truth will come out, but it's so many people that are going to be in trouble. And obviously when you investigate things in life, when you get things wrong, there is a consequence, especially when it's somebody who's done nothing. There's a very big consequence, especially when it's affected their mental health, their well-being, affected their lifestyle, and it definitely has affected my lifestyle. Like if you would have heard yesterday when I said sometimes I can't remember the cards, and like when people have traumatized me this actual month, my brain was so like traumatized from the dogs leaving. It was really Ralph, the oldest dog, and I couldn't even remember my PIN card. And I literally was thinking, what's wrong? Like, what is this, medication? What is it? But then I looked it up and it was trauma. So when your body's going through a really traumatic time, you can forget things, even 4 numbers. But the people that were like traumatizing me have got away with this. They don't, if I show that I'm affected by it, then I will look fervently crazy and unstable. So I have to be bullied and I have to look normal as being bullied. But I've had this happen to me my whole life. I'm okay with this. I lived in a family that all bullied me, and I still had to get up and go to school. I still had to go downstairs and eat my dinner with them all. So I'm okay to go in rooms with people that don't like me. It started when I was very, very young. And I think it's going to keep going until I die, to be quite honest. I think it'll keep going. There's always one person in a group that doesn't like me because I speak the truth, and then that person tells a lie to someone higher up, and then that person doesn't like me because they think, oh shit, that girl, she knows what I'm doing illegal. She knows that girl knows I'm being corrupted. That person knows I'm only giving one group something, but I'm not giving the other group something. Oh shit, that girl, she can read minds. She can actually even read when someone says a word in their mind. I don't want to be in a room with that girl. She scares me. She knows too much. But then I'm going to tell everyone she knows nothing. She's crazy. Can you imagine that happening over and over in your life? Until you just pretend that you don't have a gift. Until you pretend that, even though I hear what your spirit guide's telling me about you, I'm not going to tell you because you're a nasty person. But what I could tell you would probably help you. It could help you in your future. And it could help you today. But you can't tell everyone the truth. Like, a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. The higher ups don't want to hear the truth. They want to make up what they assume is the truth. And they only want the people at the bottom to go down so they can make their money at the top go higher. And that's really sad, how we can't all be one. We can't all be equal. I'm even seeing stuff like, you know, when people say, like, we're going to drill a hole in this side of the world, and you just think of all the animals that can be affected, and when the animals die in the sea, we basically die. And it's not even that, it's the fact that you're seeing so many people not care about animals, not care about children, not care about old people. They care about making money from these people. That's all it is. It's sad. Like, how that much control over money, like, even if you were really rich, you couldn't even spend that in your lifetime. You're going to give it to your children who have been spoilt their whole life. That's really going to ruin all that money. They're going to buy a new car. I mean, the clever one will buy a house, but the stupid ones will buy a new car. They'll try and bet their money. They will spend their money on clothes, shoes, handbags, holidays. That's the stupid ones. They'll literally watch their parents save their whole lives, and then they just spend it. And I'm not one of those people. I'm somebody who advises people to save. I'm not allowed to mention who it is, but somebody who I know, they had £10,000 given to them. And recently we had a letter saying about how that person should, what have they spent it on? And I was just disgusted of, like, ugh, you get £10,000 and you actually think, like, spend it, spend it, spend it. What have you spent it on? Why wouldn't you tell that person to save and invest when they're older? Because you haven't got anything when you're older. So you want that person not to have anything when they're older. So you're going to suggest they spend it? I'm not going to suggest that. I'm actually going to have some common sense. I'm going to tell that person, you save that, and I'm going to help you. I'll look after you. I'll pay for you. This is my job. You don't pay for me. I pay for you. That's my job. You're supposed to save that money. That's my job, to help you save that money, to encourage you to save that money, to advise you that you will need it when you are a bit older. Everyone needs money when they're older. Even if you are like 30 right now, you're going to need money when you retire. Even if you have a good job, your pension isn't that much. I've looked after elderly people, which is actually ridiculous of how little they get for how much they have put into this country. It upsets me, actually. Like, seeing when I've seen old people and they have, like, been getting, like, their cheese and their ham and their eggs and their bit of fish, like real, like, small shopping lists. And then you see all the younger people just wasting their money. And those older people that are literally living off of very minimum, like maybe their pension, they're saving for their future ancestors. They're saving for them. But what a shame, like, when they're in heaven, what a shame when they look down and watch you spend all their money. What a shame when you saw that person go without, and you just spent it so fruitfully. So just, ugh. And they believe, like, oh, we spent this now, so where are we going to get the next bit of money from? Why couldn't you create that money on yourself? And also, you don't look very good for how much money you got given. You look absolutely like shit. Those clothes, that designer, Louis Vuitton, there's a next season. So even if you buy that, next season there's a new look. Next season there's a new car. Next season there's a new designs and colours in people's houses. I remember when I had everything grey, I was probably one of the first people to actually have all grey in my house. And I literally, like, a year after, every single person had grey. I remember my old best friend from school, like, she literally didn't want me over her house for a while, and I thought, what is this? And then I went to her, so I was like, oh, she copied my grey carpet. It doesn't matter. It's bloody, everyone's got the same colours in their house. And I went and cleaned for this one man, and I loved it. Every single room in his house, he made the tarmac for the motorways in England and Wales and some of Dubai. And every single one of his rooms was so amazing. Like, he had one room, right? And there was like, have you ever seen those Narnia wardrobes? You know, when you walk in and it goes out the other side? He had like a room for each of his children, and they were completely different colors. Like, one would be green, one would be purple, one would be red, one would be blue. It was really brilliant, and his house was so big, and it was so nice. Everything was really designed nice, but he did it like every single room was different. And I think that's why I like that man so much, because he even incorporated old-fashioned colors like greens, and it really looked good. It looked really good in his house. I think what everyone is chasing is different things. One person might be looking for companionship where the other person's looking for money. And I'm going back off my story from back when I went back. But when I was in a relationship, I wanted a companionship, and that person just wanted my money. There was no love. There was no love. When I look back, there's none. There was just abuse. Like verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, major sexual abuse, being tied up with like rope, being whacked across the face, punched in the air, spat in my face. I don't think that that is normal. I don't think that you treat women like that. I don't think you tie them up with rope. I don't think you drug them after you tie them up. It's disgusting. But to see that person act like none of that happened, to see that person stand so tall after how much abuse they put me through, and then to see people also like tell me like I'm jealous or I'm nasty, and I was thinking like, you haven't been in my life, you haven't been through my abuse. Would you like to talk to your abuser? Would you like to give something to your abuser after they took so much? Be honest about it. But imagine being forced by 12 different individuals that you have to let someone see your abuser. That's not happening. It's never going to happen, because we remember the abuse. You can't abuse someone and then go back and pretend like I'm a changed person. You're not changed. You haven't even admitted to the abuse, so how can you have changed? You haven't given back what was stolen, so how could you have changed? You haven't even told the truth that you've cheated on the person you're with now, so how have you changed? These things have to really be taken into context, because things can look better in real life. Do you know the amount of women that would be with somebody, and I'm not even joking, I'm being honest on this and I'm not being horrible. Do you know how many people would marry somebody and be married and know that their husband is cheating on them, and they're okay with it as long as their husband comes home to them, as long as their husband pays the mortgage bill? They're okay with their partner going off and cheating. And I feel even more sick for you women. If I got married and I knew someone cheated on me, I would divorce them and never talk to them again. I recently, last year, 2 years ago, I had this woman, and I can say this name because everyone can say this name, there's so many Claires in the world. I had this woman, Claire, who killed my second baby, kicked my belly, and she called me and she was laughing. She was like, I'm sleeping with him, I'm sleeping with him. And I was like, wrong girl, I'm not with him. But I didn't need to go and tell that other woman. I didn't need to do that. She'll find out in the end, like I found out 10 years later. But then you think, fuck me, I wasted 10 years of my life. I gave everything I have for this 10 years, and that person was laughing at me with another woman. Are you insane? Have some pride in yourself. I'm going to go now because I'm actually just expressing my feelings, and I'm allowed to because it's my YouTube channel. Also, I really like to express my feelings because there's somebody that's watching me, and I know that they have to watch every single video right to the end because they have to wait to see if I mention their name. So I'm really enjoying doing all these videos because this person was speaking blasphemy on me, and I really enjoy you watching me. And I might mention your name in the end, I might mention it in the middle, I might mention it in the start. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But you'd have to watch to see if your name's being mentioned.